Well, that's amazing. And, the reason I brought in trust is because I'm sure you're put in a position more often than not of having to bring a little bit of not so pretty news to clients who don't really see where they're going wrong, right? So it's almost like, how do you walk that fine line of not offending somebody with their previous, let's say, logo?
Welcome to Auga Brand Designs, your creative accountability partner in all matters of branding disciplines. If you like the content, subscribe, comment, like and share. Today's episode is the second and final segment, as founder and creative director Nino is interviewed by host and founder of ProspectToWin.com Nicole Attias, in the heart of downtown Toronto Business District. The interview heavily revolves around the concept of the continued effort Nino takes to reinforcing trust, while continuing to educate his prestigious set of clients, especially after acquisition. As explained, the care and empathy in these matters is paramount for a multitude of reasons which will be divulged in this lively discussion. So without further ado, let the interview begin.
Part of what your role is to not only educate the client, but also you're kind of teaching them to take a step back and detach from the business, as opposed to holding it on so tight, right? Detach from the business and what is it that they're trying to do out there. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. It's really tough for people to detach. Some people have an easier time of it than others. But I think what I try to do when I'm having those conversations is to let them know that I bring in the objectivity, but I also bring in my expertise. So it's not just somebody who's just outside looking in. It's somebody who's outside looking in, who has their best interest, who can also, again, qualify, the reasons why they should be making certain changes. If that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Mm-hmm. No, that's amazing. And, the reason I brought in trust is because I'm sure you're put in a position more often than not of having to bring a little bit of not so pretty news to clients who don't really see where they're going wrong, right? So it's almost like, how do you walk that fine line of not offending somebody with their previous, let's say, logo, or the way they present their invoices, or the way they present to an audience, or the way they present on social media, what their banner looks like. It's so many elements. Like, what you do is you cover so many elements, and it's very easy for an entrepreneur who's so attached to their business, to their baby, for someone on the outside to say, well, hey, look, that's not working for you. And then that person might be thinking, well, how could you say that's not working for me? This is my business. So you're confronted with this more often than not. How do you deal with that?
Well, yeah, that strikes at the core of what I do and what I signed up for. I think unwittingly, right? And I'm thankful that I'm able to navigate through those choppy waters for the most part, but there's always a certain level of discomfort for me in having to convey certain news, and I'm sure for the recipient, because chances are that they've never had this type of conversation before about something that they find so personal. And this is the thing that I'm acutely aware of, which is it's not just a business. In particular, when it comes to entrepreneurs, we are all guilty of taking on too much and personalizing things, and so that's why I approach these conversations. I tread very lightly around them, because it's not just a visual. They've attached their a lot to their visual identity, and it's very personal. So you have to be able to flex the empathy muscle, and you have to be able to listen, and you have to really evaluate what it is that they hold in the highest regard, and then begin to be diplomatic. For the most part, diplomacy works, but there are times where I've actually had to be less diplomatic and say, look, this is not working.
Exactly.
And then qualify the reasons why things aren't working. Because if you're just telling them that it's not working and not qualifying, then it holds less weight. But there are times where I've had to be very forthright and explain that this is not working, but this is why it's not working, and this is what we can do to change things.